Alright, so I have ordered a new server, and I'm going to pull out the old server that has not been on in quite a while, and we're going to do a quick run through. This is an old Dell PowerEdge 2850. How old it is? Well, you've got a 3.5-inch floppy drive, you have SCSI drives, and it's DDR2 with 2 single-core Xeons. So it's old. It should run. So that, we're going to find that out. We're going to go through it and kind of clean it up a little bit. The system that I bought is a HP DL380 Generation 6. It has 2.5-inch SAS and SATA bays, and it's going to be the beginning of our transition away from hard drives. The goal for the end of 2020 is to not have any hard drives operational any longer. We're going to be completely solid state. Alright, so here we have a map of the system board with all of our connectors and everything. PCI X, PCI Express, memory instructions, password jumpers, fan guidelines. So it's nice that they include that. That, of course, is included for quick reference when you're at a data center with hundreds of these things all right next to each other, but that's not something that really affects us here. And then this is the internals of the beast. This does have a RAID card on it, and it does have 256 megs of RAM, I think. Yep, 256 megs of DDR2 RAM. Speaking of which, here's the rest of ours. So I think this has 4 gigs or 8 gigs. 1 gig. So this has 4 gigs on it. PC2 3200 Samsung ECC. I had at one point bought RAM for this, but it was not compatible, and I just never bothered to try to get any more because it's really too old and slow to be too much use to me. But it's still really cool to hang on to. Let's see, processors are up here, 2 exhaust fans, 4 processor fans back here, and this thing does get plenty loud. And then back here are our PCI E and X slots, RAID controller, and then your back plane. Dual hot swap power supplies are back here. Front I/O is the floppy drive and the DVD drive, which I actually had to order in to replace it, so I couldn't use this when I got it because the operating systems that I wanted to put on it were all on DVD, so I just had to wait. And then we have 6 3.5-inch SCSIs. And I have this loaded with 6 10K 300 gig drives. And when I bought these were more expensive than the entire server itself. I paid $90 shipped for the server, and the hard drives, the 6 300 gigs alone, cost me almost $200. And now 1.2 to 1.8 terabytes, depending on how you partition it, is just, nothing. But we'll throw it in the rack, and it'll be cool to hang on to, because that's what we do. We hoard tech. What else would we do? So I had forgotten that this thing probably has a dead CMOS battery, so I always forget to look in there. When it's unplugged for a while, it falls back to all its defaults, so the RAID controller was turned off. It thinks it's 2006 and all of that, but we've got it back booting. All 6 drives are powered up. and it's really not that loud just when it's idling, which with the kind of storage that I do is all that it's ever going to do. But alright, well, we found our drives. Whether or not I left anything on them, I don't remember. I don't remember what the last thing I did with this was. I know I wiped it after it had Ubuntu on it, because that was a disaster. This thing is not powerful enough to actually run the Ubuntu GUI. And as much as I tried, I cannot configure it through the command line. Hell, I couldn't even configure it through the GUI. I don't remember. I had multiple websites open just trying to set up a share that would connect to Windows, and it would not work. Even if I could get it set up, Windows would connect, but Ubuntu would deny it. So I just said forget it and moved on. Oh, I have Windows Server 2008 on here. Okay. That works. Let me see if I have CPU-Z installed on here and see if we can get some more info on it. I know it's single core Xeon at 3 gigahertz with 4 gigs of DDR2. Yeah, there's no question something's got a vibration somewhere, probably one of the fans, which honestly I'm really not that worried about because, like I say, this isn't going to be used, and if for whatever possible reason I could come up with to actually put this back into use, I can swap a fan out pretty easily. But we've got 1.36 terabytes on the storage pool and 280, so one drive for the boot and then the other 5 put together that way. So let's run CPU ID, CPU Z. It just runs so slow. And the new one has quad-core Xeons, so this has single core, and it still doesn't give me a number of it, but Irwindale, 90 nanometer, single core, 3 gigahertz. It's pretty pathetic. Nothing there, nothing there. It just says Xeon CPU at 3, which was the thing that I never really understood about this in general, because the entire time that I have had this computer, it has never given me anything other than just Xeon 3 gigahertz CPU. So, just for the freaking heck of it, that one was not accept. I go up to, cannot go any higher, and that does not really surprise me. So we'll want to click the one on the left side this time. Agree. 2 cores. Well, they are hyper-threaded, so it's 2 cores, 4 threads. That's not terrible. Oh boy. Something tells me this is going to take a while. Something tells me this might be slower than the Pentium 3. This can't be slower than the Pentium 3 that we benchmarked. It has to at least beat that. Alright, I'll be back maybe overnight. Well, it's been 8 minutes and we're coming up on the end. That is really chugging along. Hey, there we go. Wow, that came in under the Pentium 3. Okay, I'm loopy. It came in, the Pentium 3 wouldn't run Cinebench, but 857 puts it right about the Pentium 3. So it's pretty clear these are old and worn out. But I'll put it into the database and we'll look at it in there. Alright, so as expected, it comes in pretty bad. In Cinebench R15, the Pentium 3 did not run on that. The Pentium Gold is the lowest, but now the Xeon comes in at 87. That's quite a bit below. I'm interested to see where the new one comes in at, because that'll be the real comparison. And then in Passmark, it's actually below the true dual-core Athlon 64 X2 5050E. Comes in at 857 versus a 1708. And then the AMD E1 1200, that's an absolutely terrible computer, is the next one down at 496, and then you go to the Pentium 4 and the Pentium 3. So it's pretty terrible. It's no wonder that it doesn't work, really. But that is what I got for you today. So stick around, because once we get the new one in, we're going to benchmark it and we're going to have some fun with it.